And we are live. Good morning, everyone. This is Patrick Lee with Midweek Motivation Live in downtown Tower, studio number one, the First Bank Southwest Tower, 18th floor, my office, and the one I like to call Studio One. I'm sitting here today with Lisa Blake, the Executive Director of Leadership Amarillo and Canyon. We're going to be talking all things Lisa Blake when we come back right after this. You know the drill. Stay tuned. And we are back. Y'all give me some thumbs up. People already tuning in to watch the show. I love that. Each and every week, I have the blessing of getting to see how many people are watching in the corner of the screen. So Midweek Motivation Live now on every major podcast platform from Stitcher to Spotify to Apple iTunes. You can find Midweek Motivation Live with Patrick Lee. But today, it's not about Patrick Lee. It's all about Lisa Blake. Want to introduce everyone to my friend Lisa Blake. We've been friends a long time. Many people in Amarillo, if you're from the Amarillo area, you know Lisa. Lisa has been a figurehead in business and motivation and leadership in Amarillo, and proud. We're smiling so much because we've been talking off screen, catching up on so many things in our lives and in our families' lives because we don't get to spend enough time. And we were just saying we need to do that more often. How are you today, Lisa?
I'm doing very well.
Absolutely. That's your standard answer. You're always doing well. And that's probably part of what makes you you, is that mindset and that attitude. And we talk about here on the show, you know, the little motto at the bottom is motivating you to success in every area of life. And you have achieved some levels of success in your life. They haven't come without challenges and trials. But I want you to sort of introduce yourself today, a little bit about where you're from, some background, and then what you're currently involved in.
Okay. I'm from here in Amarillo, grew up here, never strayed too far from home. I married at a young age.
Yeah.
Been married most of my life. I went into the banking world in 91. I was hired by Don Powell, National Bank. I continued to grow in my career in banking. Many years later, we started the new First National Bank, and I enjoyed my time there as well. And then our bank sold to Wells Fargo. I became the district manager for Wells Fargo. I was responsible for 12 branches. Enjoyed my career there immensely. After being there about 15 years, I moved into Leadership Amarillo, the role as executive director. And I love it. It's all about community. It's all about people. It's all about educating leaders in our area. And it's the best job in the world. Our new class starts next week. And we're
Really?
60 professionals in the adult program. Then our teen program starts in October. And it's area high school students, juniors and seniors. So I meet lots of new people every year.
Yes.
Lots of new friends. I absolutely love taking them on the journey of our community.
How many years have you told me I need to take leadership?
Many.
A few years.
And he doesn't
And
listen.
I think next year I'm in.
Okay.
I've had multiple friends. I've had multiple friends that have gone through, personal friends, business friends, realtor friends, pastoral friends that have gone through Leadership Amarillo. And for about 7 years of real estate, I tried to be as non-committal as possible.
Yeah.
And you know this, I'm trying to grow a new business, and I started at 50 years old. So I have been involved in some networking groups. I've been involved in some other boards, and I've gotten involved to a degree, but not just jumped in with both feet. Well, I'm trying to grow a business and put food on the table, but the time is right. And this last year, about a year and a half ago, was when I made the commitment to start putting myself out there more. My main focus in putting myself out there for the last couple of years has just been doing this show once a week, got me out of my shell and got me away from just doing real estate and pouring into other people. So I think it's time for Leadership Amarillo and Canyon.
That's awesome.
I love it. So, all right, I'm in next year.
Okay, we're going to hold
you guys hold me to it. You guys can hold.
Witnesses.
That's right. I am in next year. Yeah, literally multiple friends and business partners, associates of mine that have gone through and just love it. And of course, what's not to love? So it's what all do you do at Leadership Amarillo and Canyon? Tell us a little bit about that before we dig into some more personal stuff.
Okay, we meet once a month. Starting in September, we graduate you in May. Every month is a complete different focus. We educate you on the good, bad, and ugly in our community. We will focus on economic development. We will take you on tours. We tour Bell Helicopter. We tour Amtech. We will focus on homelessness. We tour the shelters here in Amarillo.
It's a big issue in our city.
We hear from homeless individuals or from former homeless individuals. We spend a day out at Cal Farley's Boys Ranch. Every month is a complete different focus, filled with excellent speakers, community leaders, and tours. You will not be bored. Your feet will hurt.
I'm sure.
Keep you very busy.
Yes.
And then at the same time, we're focusing on your leadership development and talking about leadership traits and qualities and learning from each other. And we all are still learning, right?
We sure are.
So this new class will be 60 people that start next week. They are in for a wonderful surprise. I've never had one person, thank goodness, go through the program who regretted it. It's time well spent, and you will learn so much about our community. Even if you grew up here, there's still so much to learn.
Absolutely. And I didn't grow up here. Many of you know I was born and raised on the West Coast, on the southern coast of Oregon. And I like the bumper sticker that says I may not have been born here, but I got here as quick as I could. Yes. And I did. Shortly after school, moved here, met my wife. We've been married going on 34 years. So Amarillo has been home for about 30 of those years. And so I like to call it my hometown now. There's so much about Amarillo I still don't know. And with a lot of my other friends in social settings, they're like, oh, yeah, so-and-so, he went to Caprock. So-and-so graduated from Amarillo High. And I'm like, no, I didn't grow up here. There's a lot to learn about Amarillo. Yeah. And in my defense, people, I am currently in Realtors Leadership Program. And we've been doing that all year. I started in the spring, Texas Realtors Leadership Program, and we graduate in November with my leadership classes. We traveled to the state capitol, went to Austin, learned how real estate law is passed and the different legislature that happens that we are involved in as realtors that affects you and I as homeowners and as citizens and taxpayers. So I'm currently going through that, and then I'll be going through local with you next year. So I'm excited about that. But you're teaching all of these people, executive director, leadership, and you do this for students as well. And you teach them what it means to be a responsible, involved citizen and to move into leadership roles. They're going to take this knowledge into a business. Even if it's at an employee level, they're going to be a better employee. But they're going to have a mindset maybe that's not where they want to stay, and they're going to move on, start a business of their own. Amarillo has one of the best business startup climates in America. So if you want to have a business here, there are people that would love you and support you and help you grow your business in Amarillo, and being a graduate of that program would be very beneficial to them. Serving.
We're big on serving.
We sure are.
When we educate you and show you the different areas of our community, our hope is that you will become involved where you're passionate and serve our community.
I love that. The best way to be a leader is to serve your way to the top.
Absolutely.
But life wasn't always Leadership Amarillo. Give us a little more personal background.
Okay.
Got married, you said, at a very young age.
At a young age. My husband and I, about 5 years into the marriage, wanted to start a family. As it turned out, we couldn't start our own biological family, but we became foster parents. And as a result of that, we became adoptive parents. So we've adopted 4 daughters, and life has been fast and furious. Our girls are just wonderful. We have 8 grandkids.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Busy and fun, but life isn't always like we planned, but it's always wonderful. and
Always
we're
wonderful.
So very grateful. Not always wonderful, actually, but most of the time
Yeah.
it's wonderful. We all deal with our challenges and our obstacles,
We do.
and that's part of life as well. But we feel very blessed and we're very grateful. I was in banking for many, many years, developed a lot of relationships. I do believe that relationships is what makes the world go round, and I'm very, very grateful. The relationships that I was provided during all of those years in banking have done nothing but bless me in this role
Right.
in leadership Amarillo. And then my relationships continue because I am so fortunate to meet new people every year who go through the program and become friends. And those relationships are solid, and I'm so grateful for those. And then the teen aspect of our program is actually very much fun. I wasn't thrilled about the teen program when I took this job because I'd raised teenagers.
You're like, I'm already past that. Thank you. Let someone else do that.
It's been wonderful. We search for high school students who get overlooked, who are not involved in everything, who deserve an opportunity to grow in leadership. We plant seeds, we influence them, we invest in them.
Yes.
And when they graduate in May, my heart is so full because that has been a huge, tremendous blessing as well. And thankfully, our teen program is no charge.
Really?
So no one is left out.
Yeah.
Regardless of your economic status in life, you can participate in our teen program. So we're very, very grateful for that. I am so thankful to do what I do. And
I love that.
As you love your job, I feel like I have the best job. I don't even look at it as a job, but I feel like it's the best in the world.
I also am a mentor with the Amarillo School District in their work study program.
Wonderful.
So when they have a student at one of the local high schools interested in pursuing a career in real estate or business, they will pair them up with me. I partnered up and helped a young student from Caprock from Tascosa this last school year. Amazing young man, and he wants to become a real estate investor. And so love anytime we can pour into these young people and give them, open their eyes to the possibilities out there. I've shared with some of you a lot in the past. I came from a very poor Pentecostal Christian family, moved to Texas because I really didn't see much opportunity in the environment I was in. And coming to Texas with a friend, at the time, I didn't think it was where I would stay forever, but I knew I couldn't stay where I was. And I needed to take a journey somewhere else to become a man, grow. And it's the best thing I ever did. And the best way to learn something is by teaching something. I also think so. As we learn something, if we can in turn pour it into other people, all it does is help us too. It helps them and helps us grow. Learning, if you're like a sponge and you absorb everything, but you never wring that out or pour that out on anyone else, you just sit there and get stagnant and kind of smelly. That's not good, right? Not good at all. So I am now on the board of directors with the Real Estate Association here, and I'm dipping my toe into what it means to be in politics. I'm not certain that I like it at all. You have also dipped your toe. You've already moved up. You served on the Amarillo City Council, correct?
I did.
How was that experience for you?
It was wonderful. I loved it. I actually put my hat in the ring, and there were 18 of us. Never really thought I would be selected. My heart was in the right place. I knew that I wanted to serve, but I really didn't think that would happen. It did happen. And I served on city council for a full year. I wish it could have been longer. However, the season was right, and it was the right thing to do. And I really enjoyed it because I love people, and because I love our community. It was, difficult. Things were in a bit of a disarray at that time, but I enjoyed it. I was welcomed with open arms by the other council members in the community, and it was a wonderful opportunity.
I think it was evident. Most of the people watching the show or the people in Amarillo know at that point it was a little chaotic. And when you and some other people were elected, I think that brought a very much needed sense of balance and direction to the city at that time. Loved that. that was a good time. I was like, there's my friend. There you go. I love that. That is awesome. But life hasn't always been so wonderful. We've suffered some losses and some trials. Share briefly probably one of the hardest trials or losses you've been through, because we talk about this on the show, motivating you to success in every area of life. And it's not all peaches and cream, rainbows and butterflies. Life can be hard. And you're also a speaker. Many people don't know that. I have heard you speak. It's amazing. I cry every time as a big, tough guy. But life has dealt you some things that other people would call unfair. And you have helped people through that as well. Share probably a very traumatic time in your life, and we'll talk about how you overcame that.
Yes, and thank you for that opportunity. One of the misperceptions many people have is we think difficulties are only with these people or those people, and we think addiction only hits these people, and it's not a topic we're proud to discuss. But we did have a daughter, one of our adopted daughters, our youngest daughter, became a meth addict at the age of 16. It was a terrible time. I was with Wells Fargo at that time, and she ran away from home, and we couldn't do anything. We would call the police. We would go find her. They would find her. We would send her to rehabs. We did everything any parent could possibly do and more. We took her so many places, but we could not remove that addiction from her, and we could not change her life.
Right.
And fast forward, through, I guess 15 years of trauma and fear, not knowing where she was, not knowing if she was alive, seeing her come back and be happy and be clean and do well, then to relapse again was the most difficult season of our lives. And it was the most heartbreaking time we've ever endured. She did pass away from an overdose and left two precious children, one of whom we've adopted. A little girl. She's our fourth daughter we've adopted.
She is adorable. Yes, she is.
She has a precious, beautiful little brother who has been taken care of and provided for and adopted one of our daughters.
Yes.
So, but life's not always easy, even with leaders. Even when we smile and we're optimistic and we love life, it doesn't mean life is easy. And every person alive endures heartache.
Yes, they do.
Every person endures losses. And I think what's most important, and the message I enjoy getting out to leaders, is be real, be transparent. Don't pretend your life is perfect. No life is perfect.
It's not.
Don't pretend it is. Be real, be transparent, and ask for help. We could not have endured all of those years had it not been for friends and for church family and for all of the resources. We learned so much about addiction. We learned so much about brokenness.
Yes.
And we did not have that knowledge before. And so I'm very grateful that I learned to be transparent. I learned to be vulnerable. My entire life, pretty much put on a happy face, even when things were hard. But I learned real quickly that's not healthy. I can still smile.
Sure.
But if you ask me, have I endured tough times? I will tell you, absolutely.
Yeah.
We all go through tough times. It's just a part of life, unfortunately. And some endure more so than others. So that's, I think that's part of leadership as well, is realizing that we're not perfect.
Right.
Life is not perfect. No family's perfect. We're all a mess.
We are.
Doing the best we can do, but my faith has played a big role in that.
I am a man of faith, and I know that you are as well. Talk about that a little bit, and we do shows specifically on faith. I've had pastors on, other faith leaders on in the past. Talk about how your faith, how that helps you and how you apply that into all areas of your life.
Yes. I could not have endured the pain of her addiction, the pain of loss in our family. I could not endure it had it not been for my faith. God is everything to me. His love motivates me. I assumed one of your questions was going to be, what motivates me? What motivates me mostly is my love for our Lord and his love for me, and the fact that he loves every one of us unconditionally. It doesn't matter what we do. He still loves us.
Yeah.
We can't ever stray from his love. And that motivates me every single day. And he has helped us walk through the difficulties in life. He's helped us every step of the way. And only he can give me peace. Only he can give me joy in the midst of it all. There's nothing else that I could do or try or pursue that would give me joy and peace.
Right.
So I love to tell people when they ask me, you know, how is it you're joyful? How is it that you're peaceful? How can you endure this, this, and that? Because we've just hit on a few things.
Oh, yeah.
The only way is with God's help and with his peace and his joy and his strength and love. And it just goes on. And it gives me a purpose every day.
It does.
And I'm very grateful for that. And that solid foundation of knowledge, knowing him and knowing his truth has positioned me where I am. And I'm very grateful. And it's not to say every day's easy.
Oh, no.
Some days are not easy.
Right.
You know, and grief comes in waves. We went from being empty nesters to we're raising a child.
Yeah.
And just the other night, we had a busy time after school, and we're working on homework, and I'm tired.
I'm tired.
And I'm
like, I'm not supposed to be doing this anymore.
I should be relaxing here, reading a book or watching whatever I want to watch. But I'm doing homework and going over spelling tests and providing some correction to an attitude.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, life is not always easy.
It's really not.
What we do with it is up to us. And I choose to go to my Heavenly Father and ask for help.
Yeah.
I can't do this by myself. And I can't be successful without his help. And
we can't.
It's that simple for me.
I went to a self-defense and post-trauma awareness training yesterday. A local police officer, ex-police officer, was involved in a shooting, and now he got into another line of work, but he travels and teaches on the trauma, how it happens, and how many people that have endured these traumas actually go through the waves of the grief, the guilt, the emotion. What could I have done different? The self-doubt, the second guessing. And in these trainings, of course, they're going to teach you to talk it out. When you don't feel like talking, go to a friend and talk. And then to the mindset afterwards that when people bring it up, you have learned so much about your healing, your emotions, the grief, how to deal with that you are a better person because of the trauma. But if you wouldn't have the faith to go to our Heavenly Father, sometimes your friends Pastor David used to say, you need someone with skin on, right? To talk to. But when that talking isn't working, or you just don't know what to say, we can always go to our Heavenly Father.
Yes.
And he is the comfort and the guidance and the peace, and restores our joy and renews our strength. We all have friends right now that are suffering, going through trauma, going through battling cancer in their body, and family members and people that we have lost and people that we know we are going to lose soon. And without the faith that we have, what is the purpose of life in general? My father was an EMT. Ever since he got out of the Navy in our hometown in Oregon, he ran the ambulance service, and he went through it all. Anything you can imagine, he saw. And when I went to talk to him at about 18, 19 years old, planning a career, I wanted to go into the medical field and follow in his footsteps. He was a hospitalman in the Navy. And I was going to join the Navy, become a hospitalman like my daddy, and do what he did. And he very strongly urged me not to. And he said the trauma eventually will do two things to people when you go through trauma. It numbs you to life, and you become good for nothing. You're just numb. You no longer feel, or it makes you crazy. The opposite. He said, and without the Lord to keep me settled and balanced and remind me that we have a hope, he goes, it wouldn't have been worth it, and urged me not to do it.
Hope is a big word.
Yeah.
That's
It's
another
huge.
reason faith is important.
Yeah.
What hope do we have in this world?
Yeah.
The world is ugly. Life is ugly.
Oh, look around.
Look around. You
Yeah.
know, hardships, tragedies every day on the news.
Mm-hmm.
None of us live a perfectly wonderful life every day, but when we have Jesus and when we have that hope,
Yeah.
we know that we have a strength that is not ours
Yeah.
on our own. And it provides us the hope that we have for the future. And I know we all need hope.
We sure do.
We need something else besides what we're
Yeah.
offered here.
Yeah.
Even though life can be wonderful some days.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You know, many people are suffering, and it's very, very hard if you do not have hope. It's hard to keep going.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good. So good. I know that there are many of you out there that are enjoying this that needed to hear this. And it was a good topic to get into, for sure.
Patrick, share your story. We all
Yep.
have a different story. And when you don't share your story, you cannot help other people.
That's right.
And it's amazing to me when we're real with people and we're vulnerable and we're willing to share what we're going through or what we've gone through. All of the people begin to share, and they share their stories, and then we all receive the strength and the help that we need. Be transparent and be real.
We can all help.
Yes.
I did a show recently on KGNC Radio, Stories of Hope, with Chris Haney, and he asked me that very question about sharing the story. And just like your story, you know, so many people in this town know who you are. They may know what you do, but they didn't know that about your daughter. They didn't know about the strength of your faith. If they knew you at all, personally, they know. And they don't know that about me, but that's the thing that I shared with Chris that day. The same thing that you're sharing. Everyone has a story. Everyone that you meet has a story. But many of them will never have a platform or a means if they don't have they're not a speaker, they don't have a podcast. But you have a friend, and I think that people need to share their story. If you've been through something in life, you should reach out and share that. If you have anything that you have overcome in life, you owe it to yourself and to others to share how you overcame and help others through that.
It's important. People, we all come in contact with people.
Yeah.
We're not hibernating in our homes, right?
Right.
So we go to the grocery store, we go to restaurants, we go do various shopping, we go to meetings, we do whatever. We're with people.
Yeah.
And if we're not, we should be.
We should be.
Because our goal every day should be to share with people and to encourage people. And so someone's waiting for you out there to share your story. Someone's waiting for you to encourage them.
They sure are.
I say get out there and do it. It strengthens us.
It does.
I was ashamed for many years. I didn't want to share my story. I was too broken. And I know that it's a process. You know, grief is a process.
Was that shame? This is going to help somebody right here. Was that shame part of the journey because you felt you could have done more or something different, or because the shame, and I may be off base, but because you held this position or a status in life and you didn't want anyone to see into that private side?
I didn't want people to question my faith because I was hurting. And I'm not sure where that came from.
See, that wasn't either of the two.
I know, it wasn't. I knew of people who had endured tragedies, you know, in all walks of life. And I never judged them or thought any differently of them. But I didn't want to show that brokenness.
Yeah.
Because for a while there, felt like, is there something wrong with me? Why can't I shake this off? Why can't I move forward? Why can't I have enough faith?
Yeah.
We're human beings, for heaven's sakes. We are all human beings, and we need to give ourselves grace.
We sure do.
Once I learned to give myself grace, and it took a lot of time, a lot of prayer, and some therapy.
Yes.
I learned I needed to focus on me. And I needed to allow myself to open up before I could be repaired and healed back up. And every day is still different. You know, I can't say that I'm perfect now by any means. I'm not perfect, but I've learned that none of us have to be perfect as we're walking through these trials.
Yeah.
We have to allow ourselves to hurt. We have to allow ourselves to feel what's going on. And we have to allow ourselves to grieve. Then we can begin the healing process.
That is so, so powerful. And I hope y'all are getting this. I believe that many of you are. It's incredibly powerful. So, so touching. Thank you for sharing that. We have people that come on and the topics can be superficial, but when it's time to get real, you know, that's what we do. We're never afraid to dive deep on this show.
That's good.
Because once we get ourselves out of the way, then the real comes out and we can help people. And if there are any of you, and this just popped into my mind from the training I was just at, if there are people watching, number one, I do a show like twice a year on mental health awareness, beginning of the year and then in June, because so many people are affected by that. But I just learned of another website you can go to, and there is a National Alliance on Mental Illness. And if you have not just mental illness, but if you have been through trauma, if you have been through assault, a shooting, a major car wreck, if you've been involved, if you've seen horrible things happen in your life, or something has happened to you and you just can't shake it, they have people just like you and me and other people that are signed up through this service, and they will place you with someone, whether it's a person of faith or a person who's been through the same trauma, just to talk to you. And it's just NAMI.com, NAMI.com. And I was like, wow, that's an incredible resource. And this local police officer, he goes that every couple of months I get a call and they say, so-and-so has been through a shooting. Can you talk to him? And I'm like, how wonderful. But how wonderful is it to know that when we don't have someone with skin on to talk to, that we have our faith, and we can go to the Lord. His shoulders are broad, his skin is thick, and he can handle anything that we have. And as the thing that you just touched on there is going to be so powerful to people of faith, because as a Christian, as a follower of Christ, we believe wrongly, I think, that we are impervious to failure, and with God's help, I'm a Christian. But and we're all human, and we all err, and we all fail. I fail the Lord every day. But we are all imperfect beings on a journey towards Jesus. Absolutely. Right? And his grace is never ending. So that's a great message. Lisa, I thank you so much. It has been an absolute joy and a pleasure to get to have you on the show, and just to visit and catch up as well. Those of you watching today, Carissa's watching, some of my favorite people, Lisa Mayfield, Cody. Tragedy is a tool for us to gain wisdom, not a guide by which we live. Very, very good. Thank you for that comment. Y'all, we've been talking with Lisa Blake, Executive Director of Leadership, Amarillo and Canyon, today here on Midweek Motivation Live. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Share the show, like it, love it. If you're watching on one of the social media platforms, of course, like it, share it with a friend. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, for heaven's sake. Man, help me grow my channel, and click on the notifications button as well. Hopefully, if you share this with a friend, this is going to bless them as well. And who knows how far the reach of this show can go to helping other people. Until next time, we always say on the show, courage begins at the end of your comfort zone. So get out there and get uncomfortable today. Make a new friend, grow a new relationship. Have a great time. Until next time, we'll see you. Bye-bye.